be honest, but it looked quite low after the match with the players. They looked really devastating, and obviously Champions League football has slipped away. You can't finish fifth now. Like, how is the feeling in the dressing room?
Yeah, really disappointed with the performance, disappointed with the result. Irrelevant of that, I don't think we ever got to our level today that we know we're capable of, so yeah, naturally very disappointing.
Do you think these players that are used to playing Champions League football and that want to play Champions League football can have that same level of motivation for qualifying for the Europa League or Conference League?
Yeah, I know the group. I've known them for a little while now, and they are driven. They want what's best for themselves. They want what's best for this club, and we're going to do everything we can to try and win every single game we can from now to the end of the season.
Tom?
I think we've seen the update on Jesse Derry, potentially he's okay, which is good news, but I wanted to ask you about your reflections on his performance as well, because it was a big stage for him to be playing on. How did you think he did?
I think there are more important things than that right now. We're hearing positive signs from Jesse and Rob, and I hope the Nottingham Forest players are okay as well. But yeah, I'm pleased for Jesse's performance. I thought he performed well while he was on the pitch, but there's probably more important things to think about right now.
Peter?
Hey Callum, Vitor Pereira's been in and he said, because obviously they had a lot of absences and a lot of changes, that it was more about spirit than it was anything tactical. I was wondering what you made of it.
Yeah, I thought the first 15 minutes we were nowhere near the level we needed to be. I thought the early goal was a bit of a sucker punch and we didn't seem to really recover from that moment. It was a 3v1 at the back post. We know that they like to cross to the back post. We know that the 9 likes to peel to the back post, and we should defend that moment better. It's really disappointing. Thought we defended that moment really well at Leeds, at Wembley, and I just don't think we recovered from that moment well enough. When we did recover and we had moments, Enzo hits the post, Cole misses a penalty, Giles offside goal. When you start that badly, you need those moments to go your way to give you a chance to fight back into the game. But ultimately, the first 15 minutes was not acceptable.
Tish.
Hi Colin. Given that Forest did make 8 changes and obviously they're in a relegation fight, how can you explain the performance level in Chelsea today?
Yeah, like I said previously, I think the first 15 minutes was unacceptable. The manner in which the 2 goals were conceded has really set us back, and it gave ourselves a mountain to climb. You can't do that at this level against a team, especially against a team that's fighting for their life. So that was pretty much, for me, something that we need to address and improve.
Matt?
Callum, it's 6. I know you win in the semi-final, but in the league it's 6 straight defeats. It's 4 straight defeats at home in the league as well. I mean, how far off acceptable is that, and why does it keep happening? Because, you know, Liam used to say that they're a good group of players, they are trying, it's not an attitude thing. You've said similar, and yet the same thing just keeps happening results-wise and performance-wise.
Yeah, it's a ruthless game. It's a really high level. You cannot start games the way we did in the Premier League against a team of Forest's quality. So all we can focus on right now, and all I can focus on right now, is we're in tomorrow. We're training tomorrow. We'll review the game. We'll try and find the reason why, and try and make sure that the performance level is of a higher level against Liverpool in 5 days' time. I'm not looking at the bigger picture, the why. It's about right now and attacking the moment right now.
Can I just check on Garnacho and Eto, because they weren't in the squad, so are they injured?
They took Knox in training yesterday.
Okay, we'll leave it there, guys. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Monday in England meant an early start in the Premier League. Chelsea didn't even wake up. Nottingham Forest with a huge victory for their survival hopes. Chelsea floundering once again in the Premier League. It finished Forest 3, Chelsea 1. Forest all but safe now. But what makes this story even more extraordinary is the fact that Forest made 8 changes going into this clash, given, of course, that second leg in the Europa League that's coming up. You looked at those team sheets, Don, you thought, well, Chelsea are going to get back on track here in the league against Forest reserves, but it was the complete opposite.
It was incredible, Dan, and that makes it worse because I thought the performance against Brighton last week was horrendous. This one, with all those changes and Chelsea playing at home, I have got no idea why they were so flat. They were terrible. They're lacking confidence. They're lacking urgency. There's no energy in the team. The crowd were flat. Players didn't even raise a gallop, even though they're 1-2-0 and 3-0 down. It was like, what on earth are they trying to produce, these Chelsea players? And it takes me back, Dan. The only thing I can think of that they haven't got this urgency inside of them that the majority of these players are signed 6, 7 and 8 year contracts. There's no desire, there's nothing in their heart to go and run around and put a shift in.
But then that's a real concern going forward, isn't it, Don?
Of course it is. Of course it is, and that's the problem that they've created. That's the model. That's the ownership's model. It's the way they want to go by securing them. And people might shout at us when we're having this conversation, go, yeah, but they're on really low wages. Still, where's the motivation? Where's the motivation for this group of players when you sign a long-term contract? You know, it sounds a little bit old school, but you need to have that adrenaline in you where you're playing for something. You're playing for a new deal, or you're playing for your future, or you're playing for the name on the back of the shirt or the badge on the front. You've got to have something to play for. You can't just sign a deal and go, well, it's not the end of the world. We don't win this week. We've got another game coming up next week. We might win that one. They're in an awful position, Chelsea.
Let's talk about Forest. Give us your honest reaction when you saw that team sheet.
Oh, I thought Stonewall Chelsea win. Well, I mean, my predictions have been horrendous. I thought Villa would have turned over Tottenham last night. I thought that was a banker, but they didn't. So it's a bad weekend for West Ham. But I understand the changes from Pereira's point of view with the game against Villa coming up on Thursday. I didn't see that many coming, to be honest. But hey, they put in some performance to go to the bridge off the back of winning 5-0 last week against Sunderland, to go there and score 3 today. That's 8 goals in 2 games. That is some performance. Puts them in a great mood for the Villa game.
And it was the way they started, wasn't it? Onye, after just 2 minutes, set the tone.
That was it. That's the beauty of it. They set the tone. People might lean on Chelsea and go, they were a little bit shocked with it, with the team news. Rubbish. They set the tone. They were hungry. They played the better football.
What does that even mean?
Well, some people can lean on and go, well, you might not be prepared because of the changes. It's rubbish. It's absolute rubbish. You have to be prepared. They've got a squad of 25 players to choose from. Have a little bit of foresight that they're going to rest. I thought 3 or 4. All right, the amount of changes was a little bit heavy, but you've got to give credit to Forest making that many changes and going to Stamford Bridge and turning Chelsea over. Brilliant performance.
Penalty for you for the second, Don?
All day long. Yeah, all day long. I don't know what Gusto's thinking. Me and you've chatted so many times about Chelsea, Dan, and I've said words like they're naive and they're young and they're immature. That's immature defending from Gusto. It's like we're not playing in the early 90s anymore or early noughties where there's no VAR. You can have a shirt pull, you might get away with it. You've got to have the intelligence to know if you pull someone's shirt and the referee doesn't see it, you're in VAR days. And it's a Stonewall penalty. It's naive and immature defending.
The big talk from the Chelsea perspective was that youngster Jesse Derry was given his debut start for Chelsea in the Premier League. It ended so poorly, so badly for him. His father, of course, in the stands, his family watching on. From a day of such celebrations to end to being stretchered off, Don, before the break. It's so sad to see, obviously.
Yeah, it's horrible. I know his dad, Sean, really well. He's a good mate of mine. I played against him for many a year. Really good guy, comes from a nice family. And then you see a youngster, playing today and you want him to do well. You want him to represent the club and represent his family. And then you leave on a stretcher. It's tragic, really. But hopefully, and I say this because we haven't got any confirmation how he is, hopefully, I think the last I read, he's gone to hospital for precaution tests. So hopefully the doctors have done their work behind the scenes and he comes out the other end of it. But yeah, it's pretty sad for the family, really.
On the pitch then, obviously a penalty was awarded as a result of that challenge. Cole Palmer saw it saved.
Great save as well. And his reactions, Matt Sells, outstanding. I thought that was their lifeline. If they had got it back to 2-1, you might have then saw a Chelsea spark and something at the fire inside of them to go, right, come on, we're back in the game here. So the penalty from Palmer wasn't the worst penalty in the world, but it was a fantastic save down low to his right-hand side. And that was probably the one where you thought, once he saved that, you thought, yeah, Forest are going to win this.
Well, we saw the big boys then for Forest introduced at the break, and then they would extend their lead when they just 10 minutes into the second half. That was obviously pre-prepared, yeah? They were going to be given 45 minutes to keep themselves fit, ready for that second leg.
Yeah, absolutely. The only worry, I think, Gibbs White went off with another clash with Robert Sanchez late on in the game, so he'd have been off with with a cut forehead. So they'll sweat on him a little bit because of that sort of rule or law where if you take a bad knock, they've got to then do the assessment. I think it's about a week or 10 days that you might have to rest for. So that might be a worry. You might be able to shake it off. But yeah, that's always the plan. I would imagine when Pereira picked his team, he would have prepped Nico Williams and Morgan Gibbs-White and said, listen, be ready for 45 minutes or be ready for an hour.
Right, let's look at the table. Forest are safe, aren't they?
Yeah, I think so, mate. I think 99% they're safe. I don't see West Ham and Spurs putting that run together. They're going to overtake them on 42 points. So the last two victories that they've had, the 5-0 win at Sunderland and the win against Chelsea today, that is some return.
Yeah.
And that takes them into a great place in the Europa League semi against Villa. But the league table, as you can see, I think now it's West Ham and Spurs, those two duking it out for Premier League survival.
And who have you got, Don?
Well, it's ever-changing, Dan. To be honest, mate, this time last week, I thought Spurs were nailed on to go down. They were losing games for fun. They lost Xavi Simons to an ACL, no Solanke. But back-to-back wins and West Ham losing at the weekend was a really bad loss as well. So, unfortunately, mate, I think West Ham are going to go because their fixtures are really hard.
Wow.
You could see it swinging even more so next week. West Ham play Arsenal next week. So unless they can dig out some sort of win, which is highly unlikely, I'm afraid the Hammers might go.
A hammer blow to you, Don, as a former West Ham.
Touche.
There you go. Meanwhile, Chelsea, what the heck are they doing for the rest of the season?
Well, they've just got to bank on Aston Villa winning the Europa League and then finishing fifth.
Yeah, but there's nothing to suggest they're going to find an extra gear to even get up the table to fifth, to get above the likes of Bournemouth.
No, I agree with you. I hear you. It's the only thing they can hope for. If they finish sixth, there's a Champions League spot potentially for them. Otherwise, they're in Europa League. Otherwise, they're in the Conference League. But you look at the teams that are above them, Dan, and you're right. They're all Bournemouth are in great form. Mm-hmm. Brentford got a great win against West Ham at the weekend. So Brighton, even though they lost the game against Newcastle, form-wise, they're looking really good. Herzl, I believe, is on about signing a brand new contract. So all the teams playing well. Chelsea in free fall.
FA Cup final, obviously, is Chelsea's golden goose in the end, isn't it? How much are the players playing for that? How much are they playing within themselves thinking of that? Or how much are they thinking about the World Cup?
Well, all of the above.
Yeah.
The World Cup probably springs to mind where the players now are thinking, I don't want to get injured for the World Cup. So that's probably the main priority, where it should be the FA Cup final. It should be the game against City. They should try and park the last 6 games if they can, even though confidence-wise they're on the floor. But you've got to try and park that and put in a performance that suggests you're going to give Man City a game. Then anything after that, you just think they're hanging on the individuals to try and go to a World Cup and not miss it and not get injured.
Who would you have as Chelsea's next manager, Don?
I think if you're looking at the candidates that might be out there, I think Xabi Alonso seems the favourite to me. I like Iraola. But he went through a phase at Bournemouth this year, Dan, where he didn't win a game in about 12 games. So they come out the back of it and done really well. So you might be looking at a Thomas Frank scenario where you think if Iraola goes into Chelsea, is that a little bit too big? It was for Thomas Frank at Tottenham. Rumours are not going away about Marco Silva because he hasn't signed a new deal at Fulham. So they seem to me the 3 outstanding candidates. Philip Luis seems to be getting mentioned, an ex-Chelsea player. So I think it's going to come from one of them 4. I think if you're asking me who I would take and who would
Thierry
be
Henry
favourite,
has sent a strong message to Mikel Arteta ahead of Arsenal's massive Premier League clash against Manchester City, and he didn't hold back. The Arsenal legend warned that talk is cheap unless it's backed up on the pitch, especially with such a defining test coming up this weekend. While the Gunners secured their place in the Champions League semi-finals after goalless draw against Sporting CP at the Emirates, Henry made it clear that the performance simply wasn't good enough. Yes, Arsenal got the job done, thanks to their 1-0 win in Lisbon, but managing just 1 shot on target at home raised serious concerns. And against a team like Manchester City, Henry believes that level just won't cut it. Now, all eyes turn to the Etihad Stadium, where Arsenal face the league leaders in what could be a title-defining showdown. Arteta's side currently holds a 6-point advantage, but City still have a game in hand, and recently beat Arsenal 2-0 in the Carabao Cup final. The stakes couldn't be higher. I want to see that fire at the Etihad, Henry said on CBS Sports. It's easy to talk, but go there, against Manchester City, and show what you're made of. Henry made it clear that while he believes in Arteta and the direction of the team, belief alone isn't enough. I believe in what I see, I believe in him, in that fire. But when you say things like that, you have to deliver. And I didn't see it tonight. Despite his criticism, Henry acknowledged the significance of reaching the Champions League semi-finals, something that doesn't come around often. We're through, and I'm very happy. A semi-final, it's huge. I never won it, but I did win the league. Now go to Manchester City and win. That's what I want to see. I believe in Mikel, yes, but show it. When asked how Arsenal should approach the game, Henry was blunt. Not like tonight. Not like against Bournemouth, or Brighton away, or what I've seen at times this season. And when questioned whether the performance against Sporting would be enough to beat City, Henry laughed. The Manchester City I've seen recently, they've won 4 in a row, and even Liverpool were in the mix. It could have been more. Still, Henry remains hopeful. In fact, he's been consistent in his belief since the start of the season. I truly believe we can win the league this year. This is our biggest opportunity to prove, as a team, that we are capable. But for him, it all comes down to action, not words. I'm sitting here in the studio, there's nothing I can do. But I've heard fire. Now I want to see that fire at the Etihad. One moment that stood out to Henry was Declan Rice's reaction at full time. Look at his face. Go back and watch it. A lot of players were smiling, but his expression. I don't know. Maybe I need to talk to him to understand what he was thinking. This is a guy who just reached a Champions League semi-final. Henry made it clear, there's no negativity in celebrating the achievement, but expectations must remain high. This is huge, congratulations. It doesn't happen often in our history, so of course I'm happy. But against City, I want the team to win, not settle for a draw. That's it. Arsenal head into the clash with just 1 win in their last 5 matches across all competitions, including a 2-1 defeat to Bournemouth in their most recent Premier League outing, a reminder that improvement is urgently needed if they want to make a true statement against City. The pressure, therefore, is not just about one match, it's about momentum, identity, and belief at the most critical stage of the season. Inside the Arsenal camp, there is a clear understanding that performances must match ambition. Arteta, speaking after the draw with Sporting, admitted that his team has to improve a lot, particularly in the final third, where their lack of creativity and cutting edge was evident. While defensive discipline has been a strength, the inability to control games and create consistent chances is beginning to raise questions at exactly the wrong time. That concern is echoed by pundits and former players across England, many of whom agree with Henry's assessment. The general feeling is that Arsenal have shown resilience, but not the dominance expected of a team aiming to win both the Premier League and compete deep into the Champions League. Declan Rice, however, has taken a different stance. The midfielder has brushed off external criticism, insisting that the squad remains fully focused and unaffected by outside noise. Internally, there is still strong belief that this group has what it takes to deliver in decisive moments. Rice's mentality reflects a dressing room that is trying to stay grounded, even as scrutiny intensifies. The upcoming clash with Manchester City is now being framed as more than just a top-of-the-table encounter. It's a defining test of Arsenal's maturity. City, with their experience and relentless consistency, represent the benchmark. Pep Guardiola's side are known for stepping up in exactly these moments, and their recent run of form only reinforces the scale of the challenge. For Arsenal, the narrative is clear. Promise is no longer enough. After coming close in previous seasons, this is the point where they must prove they can handle pressure, respond to criticism, and deliver when it matters most. Supporters are divided. Some see this as the perfect opportunity to make a statement and silence doubters. Others share Henry's caution, worried that recent performances hint at vulnerabilities that City are more than capable of exploiting. What happens at the Etihad could shape the remainder of Arsenal's season. A strong performance, not just in result, but in attitude and intensity, would reinforce their title credentials and validate Arteta's project. A weak display, on the other hand, would only amplify doubts and hand momentum back to their closest rivals. In many ways, Henry's words have already done their job. They've sharpened the focus, raised the stakes, and set a clear expectation. Now, all that remains is for Arsenal to respond, not with words, but with a performance that proves they truly belong at the top.